AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she accused me of ruining her big day over a disagreement about the guest list. So, this is a long and complicated family drama that I never thought would blow up like this. I'm hoping to get some perspective here because, honestly, I'm torn about whether I'm in the wrong or if my sister is just being unreasonable. I, 32F, have a sister, Emily, 28F, who's always been a bit of a perfectionist and the golden child in the family. Our parents have always favored her, and while I love her, there's definitely been some underlying tension between us, mostly because I don't always fit her expectations or the image she wants to project. Emily got engaged about a year ago to her fiancé, Mark. From the start, she was very clear about wanting a small, intimate wedding with just close family and a few friends. She even asked me to help with the planning because she wanted my input and said she trusted me to keep things simple. Fast forward to about 3 months before the wedding, and she sent me a draft of the guest list. I noticed she invited maybe 60 people, which is not exactly small and intimate to me. I mentioned this to her casually and suggest maybe paring it down since it's getting expensive and she keeps stressing about money. Here's where things start going south. Emily says that the list is perfect and she's already sent some save the dates, so no changes can be made. I push a little, saying it might be worth reconsidering because some people invited are distant acquaintances or people she hasn't talked to in years. She gets visibly upset and says I'm trying to control everything and that this is her wedding, not mine. I back off but feel uneasy about the whole thing. A few weeks later, my husband and I get invited to the rehearsal dinner. When we arrive, Emily pulls me aside and tells me she's angry because I badmouth some of her guests to our parents and tried to sabotage the guest list by suggesting changes behind her back. I have no idea what she's talking about, so I'm confused and defensive. I tell her I only voiced concerns privately and never said anything negative about her friends or guests. She says she's heard otherwise, and it's hurt her deeply. Now, here's the kicker. A few days before the wedding, Emily's fiancé Mark calls me and says Emily is refusing to invite my parents because she's convinced they're aligned with me and trying to cause drama. I'm shocked and call Emily to clear things up. She refuses to talk and says that if I'm not on her side, then I'm against her. At this point, I'm exhausted and hurt. I tell her that if she wants to exclude my parents, then I'm not going to attend the wedding either, because family means a lot to me, and I can't be a part of a day that's causing this much division. Emily flips out. She calls me selfish and accuses me of trying to ruin her wedding and control who she invites. Our parents are caught in the middle, and there's been a lot of tension at family gatherings since. So, here we are, 2 days before the wedding, and I have no intention of going. Emily has posted a cryptic message on social media about people who don't support love and tag me, which feels like a public shaming. I honestly just wanted to be there for my sister, but it feels like the more I tried to help or express concerns, the more I became the villain. Am I really the asshole here for refusing to attend my sister's wedding over this guest list and family drama? Or is she being unfair by cutting off family and blaming me for things I didn't do? If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. It helps the content grow and motivates me to create even more great videos. Turn on notifications so you don't miss any new uploads. By the way, I'm curious, when do you usually watch my videos? While working, studying, or just relaxing at home? Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for your support. AITA for refusing to attend my sister's wedding after she excluded my fiancé from the ceremony. My sister, Laura, and I have always had a complicated relationship. We're 5 years apart, and growing up, she was the quintessential golden child, the favorite in our family, the one who got praise for every little achievement, while I was often overlooked. We never hated each other, but there was always an underlying tension that only grew stronger as we got older. I'm 28 now, and Laura is 33. I've been with my fiancé, James, for 3 years. We met in college and have been inseparable ever since. James is kind, funny, and incredibly supportive, basically everything I could ask for. My family loves him, or so I thought. Laura, however, has never seemed to like him. She's never outright said why, but I always caught her rolling her eyes or making subtle snide remarks whenever I mentioned him. The issue began a few months ago when Laura got engaged to her boyfriend of 2 years, Mark. The wedding is scheduled for next summer, and she started planning right away. I was excited at first and assumed she would want James to be part of the celebrations, especially since we're close siblings. About 2 months ago, Laura invited me over to discuss the wedding plans. She was polite but distant. That's when she dropped the bomb. James wasn't invited to the ceremony or the reception. She said the venue had a strict capacity limit, and they had to keep the guest list intimate. Her reasoning was that she didn't want the wedding to become a big social event with lots of friends and acquaintances, only close family. I was stunned. I asked if she was serious. Excluding my fiancé from my sister's wedding seemed absurd. She told me that since James and I aren't married yet, he wasn't considered family in the same way, and she wanted to avoid any drama. When I pressed further, she hinted that Mark didn't like James because of something James said about Mark's political views during a group dinner months ago. James had made a few comments, but nothing hostile or personal, just a difference in opinion. I tried reasoning with Laura, explaining how important it was for me to have James there, especially since we're planning to marry ourselves in the near future. She didn't budge. Instead, she suggested that James could join the after-party that only a handful of close friends would attend, but not the wedding itself. Feeling hurt and disrespected, I told her I needed time to think. I discussed it with James, and we agreed that attending the wedding without him felt wrong. It would be humiliating and unfair. I called my parents to see if they could intervene, but they sided with Laura, saying that weddings are stressful, and it's the bride's prerogative to decide the guest list. I told Laura that I wouldn't attend if James wasn't invited. She accused me of being selfish and said I was making it about myself instead of supporting her on her big day. She even said I was choosing my boyfriend over family, which hurt me deeply. Now, a month before the wedding, I haven't spoken to Laura. She stopped answering my calls and messages. Our parents have started pressuring me to reconsider, saying I'm causing a family divide. James is upset too. He feels betrayed by Laura, someone he barely knows but was ready to welcome his family. I don't know if I'm overreacting or if I'm justified in standing my ground. I want to support my sister, but I also want my fiancé to be part of important family moments. Was I wrong to refuse to attend the wedding without him? Please, Reddit, am I the asshole? AITA for refusing to let my sister's fiancé stay at my house, even though he's homeless and she's begging me? This whole situation has been tearing my family apart. And honestly, I don't know if I'm the asshole here or if my sister and her fiancé are being unreasonable. I'll try to explain everything in detail. A little background first. I'm 30, live in a decent-sized city, and own a 2-bedroom apartment that I rent out. I'm pretty independent and keep to myself most of the time. My sister, 28, has always been more of a free spirit. She's been in and out of relationships, some stable, others not so much. She met her fiancé about a year ago, and from the start, I was wary of him. Let's call her fiancé Mark. Mark is 32. When they started dating, I noticed that he didn't have a stable job, and I later found out he was couch surfing with various friends. He never talked much about his situation, but my sister assured me he was working on getting his life together. I wanted to give them the benefit of the doubt. Fast forward to 6 months ago, Mark lost the couch surfing spots one after the other, and my sister told me he was officially homeless. She asked if he could stay with me temporarily while they got back on their feet. I said no. My apartment is small, and while I'm not heartless, I'm not comfortable housing someone I barely know, especially since I live alone and my home is my sanctuary. I offered to help in other ways, like helping him look for jobs or a place, but the living arrangement was a hard no for me. My sister was furious. She said I was being selfish and uncaring. She reminded me that it's family and that I should step up. Over time, I tried to stay neutral and supportive, but kept my boundaries clear. A couple of weeks ago, Mark ended up staying at a homeless shelter that my sister visits frequently. He's been there for over a month now, and the shelter isn't the safest or most comfortable place. My sister is worried about his well-being, and now she's making bigger demands. She wants me to let Mark stay at my place, at least for a little while, because she believes it's the best option right now. She keeps saying things like, "We're family. If you can't help us now, then when? How would you feel if it was you?" I've tried explaining that I have a job that requires me to be home sometimes for late-night work calls, and that having an extra person disrupts my routine and privacy. She tells me that if it was truly about privacy, I wouldn't be so quick to help strangers or friends. But I don't really have friends who need housing right now, so I'm not sure how to respond to that. Last weekend, I went out of town for a short trip. When I came back, I found out from my neighbor that Mark had been waiting outside my door for hours one evening, hoping to get inside or to talk to me. My sister had apparently given him my key without asking me. This really upset me. Not only did she violate my trust by giving out my key without my permission, but Mark was also in my private space without my knowledge. I confronted her about it, and she said it was because she was desperate, and she thought I was being cruel. I told her that she needs to respect my boundaries and property. She said she felt like I was abandoning her and Mark in their time of need, and that if I couldn't support them in this way, then I'm not really family. This has caused a huge rift in our relationship. My parents have taken her side, saying I'm cold and that I need to be more generous. I do help in other ways, like sending Mark money for food sometimes and trying to help him apply for jobs, but it's never enough for my sister. She expects me to let Mark stay in my apartment, which would mean no privacy, no personal space, and potentially complicated living situations given Mark's unpredictable behavior. To be honest, Mark has sometimes been a bit rude when he talks to me, and I don't feel comfortable having him as a long-term house guest. My sister calls me a coward for not standing up for family, and says I'm just making excuses. So, AITA for refusing to let my sister's homeless fiancé stay at my apartment despite their situation? Am I being selfish, or are my boundaries reasonable?